Hey makers, I am so excited to share this tutorial on making Tongan Kahoa Leis. I've been wanting to learn these for a long time, and there is limited information available online. I've been practicing and perfecting these methods for about a year, and I'm eager to share them and help others to learn this beautiful part of the Tongan culture. These leis are a labor of love and used for special occasions like graduations and weddings. I don't have access to fa that is often used, but I've been using flowers like carnations, ginger, and baby's breath to make leis. Subscribe and like this video for more tutorials. The first step in preparing my tea leaves is to debone the leaves, or to remove the center stem of the tea leaf. Following the grain of the leaf, I'm going to use my scissors to cut off each side. When cutting on the right side, I use the bone as a guide. I'm right-handed. To cut off the left side, it's easier for me to flip the tea leaf to the back side and use the bone again as my guide. Once I have my tea leaf halves, I'm going to cut diamond shapes by following the grain again and making diagonal cuts. For an adult lei, I use about 10 tea leaves, but I do prefer my leis to be really full and thick. When I first started and my leis were not woven as tight, I was using about 8 tea leaves. To make the tea leaves easier to work with when I'm weaving, I'm going to soften them. I don't want them to be fully softened, just more flexible. So to do that, I wrap my tea leaves in damp paper towels and microwave them for 45 to 60 seconds. You can use any string or ribbon to create your lei. Most commonly used is this twine that I purchased from an Asian market, and I will also link it from Amazon. It has a little stretch to it and it will help keep your tea leaf base tight. To make an adult lei, I'm going to cut 3 strands about 6 feet long for my lei and braid about 2 or 3 inches to use a tie in the back of the lei. I'm going to jump to another video where I use 3 different colors for the purpose of teaching and some extra purple tea leaf I had on hand. My starting position for the base will be with my green twine on the right side, white down the center, and blue on the left side. With the shiny side of the tea leaf on the outside, I'm going to fold my tea leaf in half and pinch it in the center. Place your tea leaf on the white center string. Green will come down over the tea leaf and down the center. White is going to stay underneath and go to the right side. Twist white over green, and now I'm back to starting position. Fold your tea leaf in half, going over the green string. And I'm going to push my tea leaf up so that I have an even border going down my base. While pinching that with my right hand, I'm going to bring the blue string down the front of my tea leaf and down the center, and then twist white over blue, bringing me back to starting position, and pull the string tight. And then I'm going to pinch that in place while I get ready to put on my next tea leaf. This is the process that I'm going to repeat until my kahoa base is the desired length. In my start position again with green on the right, white down the center, and blue on the left side. I'm going to fold my tea leaf in half and pinch it in the center. Place the tea leaf on the white string. Green comes down my tea leaf and down the center. Twist white over green back to starting position. Now I'm going to fold my tea leaf in half and push it up slightly. Blue comes down the front of my tea leaf and down the center. Twist white over blue, back to starting position, and pull it tight. I make my adult kahoas 28 to 30 inches in length, and that is if your recipient is under 6 feet. If they're over 6 feet, I would add a little bit of length. Once you finish weaving your base, tie it in a simple knot and braid 2 to 3 inches to tie it off in the back. I use a binder clip to clamp the end of my base. I'm not going to tie and braid it off until I finish the top of my lei so that I can make sure that my top pieces fit, and I may need to add or take off a few tea leaves, but that's going to give me a really clean finish. To create the top of my lei, I'm going to create individual floral pieces, and I'm going to use hefty foam plates as the base of those floral pieces. You can create different shapes and styles. For this tutorial, and what's been most popular as I've been making leis is to use half round pieces. The supplies that I'll need for the top of the lei are flowers and leaves, stapler and staples, scissors and string and needle. I'm using curling ribbon. The first foliage I'm going to use for this lei are called Songs of India. For this design, I'm going to fold the Songs of India leaves in half. One method is to use your string and needle and sew on the leaf. I usually opt to use a stapler because it's faster. So using the stapler, I'm going to create the first layer of my design. I'm using baby's breath for my next layer, and I'm going to use the stapler again to create this layer. I've cut pieces of the baby's breath and we'll just staple them on in the design that I want. On top of the baby's breath, I'm going to use carnations. I'm going to cut off the head of the carnation, bunch the individual petals together and staple them to my plate. And as I'm making each layer, I want to make sure that I cover any staples that are showing in the previous layer. The last layer of my floral piece is going to be a tea leaf rose. Before I add that, I'm going to sew the individual plates onto the tea leaf base. Using my ribbon, I'm going to tie a knot on one side and thread it through the needle. I'm sewing the pieces on each side and in the center. I want to hide my ribbon behind the leaves so it doesn't show, so I'm gently pulling my leaves up so I can sew behind it on the foam plate. The string can show in the center because it will be covered by the tea leaf rose. I'm using a simple knot to tie off my ribbon that I've used to sew the floral pieces onto the lei. You can see my binder clip at the end holding my base in place. I'm adding in a few more tea leaves so that my base and my floral pieces fit perfectly. Our next step is to finish our design with tea leaf roses. I will add an in-depth tutorial on the roses just because it takes the most practice. To create a tea leaf rose, I need softened tea leaves. Tea leaves can be completely softened by microwaving them, boiling them, or freezing them. After deboning the tea leaves, I freeze the halves in a Ziploc bag overnight. After they thaw for about 10 to 15 minutes, they're ready to use. I've prepped my ribbon and needle, and depending on my design, I may cut this in half and use a quarter tea leaf to make the rose, but in this design, I'm going to use half of a tea leaf. Fold your tea leaf in half horizontally, and then I'm going to fold my leaf down to create this folded edge. And at that folded edge, I'm going to roll the tea leaf inward, and that's going to create the center of my rose. To create the first layer of the rose, I'm going to fold the leaf back. And to keep my rose secure as I'm making it, I'm going to pinch the base with my right thumb and my index finger. I'm going to hold it here the entire time and just rotate the flower as I make my layers. Fold the leaf backwards and place it on the underside of the rose to create the layer. During this part, I'm not twisting or rolling the layers like the center of the rose, but just folding it and placing it under to create my layers. Once my rose is the desired size, I'm going to trim the excess tea leaf. I'm going to place my tea leaf onto my floral piece, making sure that both ends are in the back and will not unravel. Taking my needle through the back of the base and through the floral piece, I'm going to sew through the rose layers and back down so that my ribbon doesn't show. And I'm going to repeat this 2 or 3 times to make sure that my rose is secure, and then tie off the ribbon in the back, and then repeat this for each of my floral pieces. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions on creating this lei. One lei takes me about 2.5 hours to make. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video.